What's up, guys? It's your girl Jade, and I am back with another video for you guys today. Now, this was supposed to be up like maybe a couple hours ago, but a lot of stuff was going on, so I apologize. But today, I have for you 3 scary stories. One is a quarantine story, and given the fact that we're in quarantine, that is perfect. So, I really hope you guys enjoy these. And the person whose stories we're going to be reacting to, his name is Mort. So if you see my video, please do not copyright me. I'll have your link and stuff below. So if you guys are ready, let's begin. Okay, guys, so the first video I'm going to be reacting to is a true quarantine horror story animated, and since we're on quarantine, I thought this would be perfect to watch given the fact that we have nothing else to do. So, like I said before, Mort, I want to watch your content, so please do not copyright me. I will have your link below. Alright, let's begin.
To meet a week ago. My name is Joseph, and I live in a country based in Europe. I am a student studying at university and currently live with my parents. A few days ago, before this outbreak took place in my country, we had been informed through the media that we shouldn't leave our houses and to minimize contact with people for the next 2 weeks. The government had closed down all schools and certain businesses. This also included events within my own country. It was a Friday evening.
Yeah, but we
I was
got
trying to
quarantine
kill
for
some
another
time
30
by
days, a
playing
whole
computer
month.
games when me and my parents heard our doorbell ring. I was confused because we weren't expecting anyone. It would be really irresponsible to visit during the outbreak. I thought to myself that it could be one of my aunts or my cousins who needed help or supplies, so I immediately went to answer the front door.
Nobody should be knocking on the door.
I was just
don't care if it's
surprised
raining
that
or
they
not.
didn't inform us about this
You
visit
didn't come unless
earlier.
you're announced.
Before I could even touch the door handle, I looked through the blinds to see who it was. It wasn't any of our relatives, but 2 men in dirty yellow overalls which looked like hazmat suits. I couldn't even make out their faces. They looked so creepy. My heart started to beat faster.
That sounds fishy.
I thought that my father or mother had symptoms, and they called the hospital for doctors or some medical professional. Maybe they didn't tell me so as to not make me so worried or panic about them. But when I checked the living room, neither of them seemed to be ill. They were surprised too. Something doesn't feel right.
Yeah, if they're
the doorbell
surprised
rang
and
once
you're
again.
surprised, something ain't
I
adding up.
hesitated, but I finally pulled the door open. The men introduced themselves as a disinfection team sent by the city council. They told us that every house in the area will be disinfected and we will need to leave for an hour.
From the government,
they even showed us papers that seemed legit.
2 people.
We had
Second
many
of all,
doubts, but they convinced
they would have
us.
had that on the news.
Looking back, it was the dumbest thing we did, but they inspired trust in us.
Or they would have
and we were
contacted you
already
in some way.
distracted by the stress of the situation. Me and my parents looked at each other. We shrugged our shoulders and decided to take a walk. They gave us a copy of a warrant, plus we thought we were leaving our house in safe hands. After a few minutes of walking, I remembered that I forgot to turn off the oven. I said it to my parents about this, and they decided to wait for me. I sprinted back to my house. As I got to the house, I heard some weird noises behind the closed door. Why did they close the door? I said to myself.
They locked the door.
Fortunately, I had an extra key, and I opened the door.
Yeah, that definitely
The view inside the house horrified me. I saw a huge mess. All of the cabinets were left open, furniture was turned over on the floor, and all of the food we gathered as supplies were thrown out. I froze from fear. Millions of thoughts were flying through my head at that moment. I immediately knew we had become victims of a robbery.
It's time
How
to
could
dip
we have been so stupid? I thought to myself. I turned around and wanted to run out of the house and call the cops, but I stumbled upon one of the robbers standing at the front door holding a big knife. I can't let you
got a knife. Nope.
You seen too much. He said to me in a really evil way.
Run.
Then he started to run towards me. Without hesitation, I ran to the bathroom and locked the door behind me.
Yeah, that's right. Lock
he was screaming and pounding on the door.
Job.
If you open the door, I won't hurt you. I promise,
You won't
he
kill me,
said.
you're lying.
Of course, I didn't believe him and hid inside the bathtub. He started to stab the wooden door. I was so scared I couldn't
Poking
even
holes in the
blink.
door?
My heart was pounding so hard.
And that door is a
It
wooden
felt
door,
as if
dude?
I was trying
I
to
don't
escape my
understand.
chest.
Why y'all got such an
I started
old-timey
to pray
door?
because I thought that
For
was
y'all's
literally the
bathroom?
last moments of my life. Tears started to stream down my face. I cried more than I had ever cried in my entire life. Finally, the pounding on the door stopped.
I'd be praying too.
He was gone. I heard police sirens and I opened the door. My parents ran up to me and hugged me. I felt like the luckiest person alive.
Oh, that's good.
I was so happy. They told me that after a while of waiting, they eventually decided to walk back to the house. Then my father saw a robber in the door with a knife.
Amen for
He
that.
hid behind the
Dad
trees
hadn't
and called the
cops.
police.
But, honey, you probably be
The police
dead.
told us that they were searching for these men for 2 weeks. They had already robbed 10 houses in the nearby cities and used the situation as a way to gain trust in people and to access their properties. The papers they found on them were also fake. I hope they will rot in prison now. Let this be a warning. I hope you guys won't fall for this kind of scam.
They deserve to rot away in prison. Like, how you break up into somebody's house and try to steal their stuff? Like, you see, we all going through something, and you go try to steal from them? Man, see, this is why y'all need to be careful. And, like, don't let just anybody in your house. Look, I don't care. I wouldn't trust them as far as I go. They'd have to show me their government IDs and everything. Plus, but there should have been a red flag that they didn't say nothing about that on the news. There wasn't more of them, because there's not just gonna be just 2 people coming to sanitize a house. When you see someone quarantining and if I've learned anything from real life and from movies, they're gonna have a bunch of people up in there. They might even have military escorting them, so there's no way it would have been just But let's go on to the next one. Okay guys, so that was one. This one is called I Got a Ride from a Crazy Lady.
I try to present as male as best as I can, but it's still pretty obvious that I'm biologically female.
Oh, so you're trans.
I have short hair and I wear guy clothes, but I have a very unmistakably female face. I also live in a very religious area, so it's not a very common or accepted thing. One of our neighbors is a priest, but he's very accepting, and his house is a bit like a second home for me, because I think of him like one of my grandparents, and he sees me as a grandson. Anyway, I was walking home from school during the winter a few years ago, and it had started snowing. Needless to say, it was pretty damn cold, and I was miserable. The wind felt like it ignored my clothes and chilled me right to the bone. It was hard to hurry because the freezing wind made my muscles really stiff. I was only maybe a quarter of the way home when a car slowed down and pulled up next to me. It was just a little old lady. She looked nice enough, and at this point I was willing to do anything to get out of walking.
I don't know if that's just her or the fact that it's
so
this animation, but the animation is pretty good so far.
It felt a hell of a lot better in that car than it did to walk. She was very nice at first. She prattled on about how her grandchildren went to the same school as me, talked about how lucky we were to live in such a nice Christian community, and so on. When she started on about being a good Christian, about how much she loved Jesus, I was a bit uncomfortable, but I didn't say anything.
Oh Lord.
After all, even though I'm not a Christian myself, it isn't my place to say anything about religion. Believe what you believe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Christian, and
She'd just been nice enough to give me a ride, so I didn't want to offend her. When she started talking about Leviticus, that's when I knew I had messed up by getting into her car. She started going on and on about gay people and how they're just confused, how man should not lay with man, and so on. We were getting close to where I was going to have her drop me off. When I mentioned that she could drop me off there, she looked over at me and didn't say anything. She didn't slow down either. I was starting to get nervous. We passed the point I'd told her about. I looked over at her and said something along the lines of,
"Oh no,
you can let me out here."
Honey, you'd have made a mistake.
She gripped the steering wheel really hard and said,
"I can't let you out. You need me."
I asked her what the hell she was talking about, and she turned to me.
Your short hair. I knew I needed to help you when I saw it. You're a sick girl.
So you just gotta assume because
inside you.
I tried to cast aside the discomfort of being called a girl and stumbled out something about just liking short hair, having a boyfriend, anything that would make me seem a little bit more innocent in her eyes. But it didn't look like she believed me.
Now
I
you're
wanted to
assuming
cry
that
as I watched the
just
drop-off
because he has
point
short hair
get
and
further and
everything.
further away. I begged her to let me
I
out,
can't with people
promised
like
that I would
that.
go to
People are so
church,
rude.
repent my sins, as long as she let me out and let me go home to my family. She screamed at me that she hated dykes and that she was going to call her son to help her, quote, fix me. At that point, I knew I needed to get out.
Call your son
I grabbed
to
the
help.
handle and
Oh,
unlocked
no.
the door, only to feel my hopes
Help
sink as
how?
the electric lock
Help
kicked in and
what?
relocked it. She
Lady,
was still screeching
you are
about how I just needed to be
crazy.
with a man and it would fix me. That
she
accepting
for
God's
real?
truth would fix me.
This woman
It
is
might
crazy.
sound
She
ridiculous to
locked
be
up.
afraid of an old Christian lady, but I was terrified. I was so
Dude, you
scared
need
of what
to
would happen if I
dip.
didn't get out. I took my chance and rolled down the window as fast as I could and made a jump for it. I landed on a pile of rocks and my breath
Oh my
was
God, you
knocked
jumped
out
out
of
the
me.
window.
I could hardly move.
Oh, you
Everything in my
landed on
body
rocks.
hurt
No.
horribly, but I knew I
know
needed to
you
get
in
out of
pain,
Dodge
honey.
before she decided to come
But
back.
shoot, I would have
I
did the
got up
same.
and
I
limped
ain't
into
about
my
to get
neighborhood.
killed or taken or
As soon as I
kidnapped
came to that old
raped
priest's
by
house, I snapped
nobody's
out of the
son.
stupor I
Heck
was in and
no.
was hysterical. I banged wildly on the door until he
Oh,
let me in, and I
got to the
cried
pastor.
uncontrollably
Thank
while he called the
goodness.
police. I was
Oh,
taken
you
to the
poor
hospital
thing.
after I told the police what had happened. The jump from that car broke my femur in 4 places and cracked both my knees.
Ooh,
It amazed
I can't
doctors that I was
believe
able
you
to
broke
make it to
that
the
many
priest's house in the
bones.
condition that I was in.
but I mean, you did
I've
jump out
never
of a
seen that
window and
lady
it was
again or her car.
pretty
But
fast.
since then, I never walked to or from school alone anymore. I can only hope nobody ever got into her car
Oh,
again.
I get it. That lady needs to rot in prison for what she did. That was so disrespectful. Like, not even gonna lie. That was wrong. She should not have forced. Look, this woman was disrespectful. Like, gay people, bi people, lesbian people, trans people, the whole LGBTQT community needs to be, like, they need to just stop, because I hate people are so, like, rude and ignorant with how they act. Like, y'all are people, they're people too. Like, you can't just disrespect them like that and just assume them or force them to be some way because you think that they're going through a phase or such. Like, that's the thing that upset me with my parents. Like, they think I'm going through a phase or whatever, and I'm just like, whatever, because that's not true. People can be whoever they want to be, however they want to be, with whoever they want to be. It's not your place, and if you think it's your place, you need to go somewhere with all that. Anyway, that's my piece. Final video. Alright, this one is a true Home Alone horror story. This is the last one. So,
Something's cooking me alive. How about it?
There was a time my parents went on a trip to Europe. I was taking care of their house. I was home for the summer from school anyway, so it was fine. I had been there for a few weeks and it was pretty quiet. I just went to work, came home,
so you're
had
basically
some time
home
with my
alone.
friends,
Is that a
enjoyed the
couch?
house to ourselves. And
That couch looks
whatnot.
more like a bed.
But one night, I was just laying there watching TV when I heard this really weird, low whistling sound coming from the window that was behind the couch. It struck me as sort of odd, and I just shrugged it
Whistle.
off. But then it happened again. It totally sounded like it was a person standing up against the window whistling. I looked out the window and obviously there was no one there, so I figured I should go check it out.
That's a little
If it was
creepy,
something
not
like
gonna
the
lie.
wind on the siding, I should probably fix it because
That would
that
freak
would
me
get
out too.
annoying. So I walked out into the backyard. The backyard in my parents' house is really, really pretty. It's sparse, but sort of forest that leads to a road on the other
Why
side.
would you go
So I
outside
looked at the house
the house?
and didn't see anything. But then I heard the sound again.
I ain't going out of no house. If I'm home alone, I ain't going out the
It was
house.
coming from the woods in
What
the
do I
back.
look like?
I was pretty creeped out at this point, and of course I couldn't see anything
How
in
do
the
I
woods.
know?
So
could
I
take
hurried
that
back
whistling
through the
somewhere
door and I
else.
locked it behind me. I never really heard that sound again for the next few days, until one night I
Yeah,
was
lock
asleep
the
in my
door.
room, and I could have sworn I was awakened by the whistling sound against my second floor window. I listened hard, and it was dead silent. So I decided I should go ahead and look out the window. I did that whole thing where I crept super slowly towards it and just sort of peeked through it. Outside my window, there
Yeah,
was a
creep
man
into
just
the door
standing
because you
there.
don't want to let the person see
I
you.
was really sleepy, so I can't know how much of this I'm misremembering.
Oh no.
But he
You
was
saw
just
a
sitting
whole
there
man
staring at
in
me.
your yard.
I was completely frozen, and slowly, the man pursed
Move
his
from
lips,
the window. Move
and I
back.
could hear that whistle again. It was crystal clear. It made me feel like crying.
Oh,
I
this
tore
dude playing
myself
games
away
with
from the
you.
window and I hid under
Oh,
my
he playing
covers.
around.
The next night, I insisted that my friend stay with
Nope,
me.
you're doing too much, mister.
He did, and of course, nothing happened.
Why didn't you call
He
the
figured that I
cops?
was
What is
just tired
wrong
and
with you?
delirious, and maybe I was right. It gets kind of anticlimactic here, but I didn't hear it for another week or
Y'all
so.
saw that in the corner and looked
And
like a
when
little
I did, it was just
head
one
of something.
small
Maybe
whistle
it was a ball.
just
I don't know.
happening
It
randomly,
scared the crap out of me.
coming from a wall or something like that. It just happens every week or so, and it always freaks me out tremendously. To this day, I would never stay in that house alone anymore.
You're right. I wouldn't want to stay at home alone either. The freak? Man, let me tell you something. Right now, I would never, in a million years, stay home alone in a house. But first off, I don't care if your friend didn't hear the whistling when he was over. The dude was probably playing games with you, so he didn't want your friend to hear the sound. And frankly, when you saw a man in your yard, you should have called the cops, and you should have told your parents too. I mean, it was nice of you to tell your friend to stay over the night after, just to make sure you felt okay. But like, I don't care. I'm not staying home alone ever. And the dude was playing too much. He was playing with you, doing all that. Nah, couldn't be me. Could not be me. Could not be me. Alright, but anyway, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video of 3 scary videos. If you are new, I hope you really enjoyed this. Please consider subscribing to the channel. If you've been to the channel before, then leave. I'm sorry. My eyes are really itchy. I have bad allergies, and so my eyes are itching, like my face is really dry. But anyway, please consider subscribing if you're new. Make sure, whether you're new or old, to leave a like before you go. Share with your friends, and comment down below on what you want to see next. And I will see you guys in another video. I love you guys. Please try to enjoy the quarantine, and please, for the love of God, stay home. Don't go nowhere. Get some groceries. Cover your mouth. Cover your face. Do not sneeze or cough on people. Do not start pranking people like that, because that's disgusting and that's wrong. Wash your hands and quit trying to go places that you ain't supposed to be going. Like, come on now, guys. If we all want this quarantine to end, then everybody's got to play their part and stay home. Like, come on. My birthday's in July. I'm turning 21. I want to be able to celebrate and have fun and see my friends and everything again, but I can't do that unless everybody plays their part. So please, guys, stay home, stay safe, cover your mouth, wash your hands. I don't see why it took a virus to tell y'all that, but I'm not gonna get into that again. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye, guys.
If you want things to get back to normal, don't panic. Just use your dome. Wash your hands, stop touching your face, and stay the at home. Motherfucker, it's no time to gamble. Look around, you're not at a casino. Just stay the home as if your name was Trenton Quarantino. Sure, you can still see your friends. Use the mother app on your phone. But unless you just ran out of groceries, please stay the at home. Thank you for doing your part to flatten the curve, because that is steep. And now that you're home, please feel free to go the to sleep. The end.